Saira, my dear students, in the lesson, the medieval India and the political transition, we discussed Rajputs, different Rajput dynasties and their contributions. And in this medieval India, that means the medieval India, the political transition, here we have to see the two phases. One is the Rajputs and the Turks. Today we are going to see the arrival of Turks. Arrival of Turks. See, they became constant threat to India. These Turks were constant threat to India. By defeating all small kingdoms of Rajputs, Turks built their empire in subsequent years, not at one single day and night. They took several years to build their empire in India. The establishment of Turk rule, whose religion was Islam, was not only completely unexpected. See, the establishment of Turks rule, whose religion was Islam, was not only completely unexpected. Arabs had made failed attempts to capture Sindh region. See, they made several attempts from the beginning of the 8th century till Sindh region was. Sindh region means here, almost these regions. Punjab region, Sindh region means. Turks who belonged to nomadic tribe of Mongolia. That is the part of Central Asia who had accepted Islam. These Turks were nomadic in nature and a nomadic tribe. They were from Mongolia. They accepted Islam. Here we have to note a person, that is Alptagin. Alptagin. Who is this? Alptagin. He belonged to tribe, this nomadic tribe, the Mongol tribe, established his independent states in Ghazni. He started his independent state. Though they are nomadic tribes, they settled in a place and started their empire in 963 AD or contemporary era. The battles between Rajputs and Turks started from this period. See, this period, when Alptagin started. When Alptagin started his empire at Afghanistan, the Ghazni region of Afghanistan, the true battle between Rajputs and Turks began. This was the Muhurtam for their war. And here you know that Alptagin was the founder. And now we are going to see a noted ruler of Afghanistan, that is Muhammad Ghazni. See, Muhammad Ghazni who ascended the throne in 999. That means 999 CE. When did he ascend the throne? He was very ambitious ruler. Muhammad Ghazni was an ambitious ruler. He wanted to conquer India. He wanted to plunder India. Plunder means loot. He ascended the throne in 999 CE. He invaded India 17 times. The famous Somanath temple and the temples of Saurashtra were destroyed during his invasions. Though all the Rajput kingdoms of the western India were battered by these invasions, they failed to face Turks due to lack of unity. See, Ghazni was a small kingdom in Afghanistan region. He was successful in battling with the Rajputs and he conquered many battles. What does it show? The unity among the Ghazni rulers and disunity among the Indian Rajputs. You can see the image of Muhammad of Ghazni. Then Muhammad succeeded in his invasions due to political and military weaknesses of Rajputs. Already I told the disunity among the Rajput. Muhammad invaded 17 times and carried away enormous amount of golden ornaments and wealth to Ghazni. He came to know that Indian temples possessing vast gold and other precious ornaments. Even today, you know that while going to construct a temple, during the foundation, during the, you know, that muhurtam, they means the people put gold and precious ornament inside the foundation. Even today, the same thing he came to know that, so he destroyed many temples to plunder precious ornaments and golds. And though he did not build his empire in India, you know the reason why didn't he build his empire in India? He wanted to conquer India only for plunder, to loot. Enormous wealth to Afghanistan. Similarly, the valor of Rajput, who had become weak with the internal rivalries, also got displayed. Here, one more thing displayed. What was the thing displayed here? Their weakness displayed. Rajput's weakness displayed. And another, a Ghazni ruler who came to India to establish their rule, that is Muhammad Ghor or Ghori. Now we are going to see his rule. Muhammad Ghori was also one of the prominent Afghan invader, a Turk ruler. Here the Turk dynasty called Shansbani, which was ruling from Ghor region of Afghanistan. Shansbani. They came into prominence and ended the Ghazni dynasty. You know that Muhammad Ghazni was the successor of Alip Dagin, and their rule was ended by the Ghori dynasty. Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor of this dynasty ascended the throne. Ghiyazuddin. His ambition was to conquer India and to expand their territory in India. So he sent his son. Who is that? Ghiyazuddin Muhammad Ghor of this dynasty ascended the throne, and he sent his younger brother, not son, his younger brother Mujahiddin Muhammad, his younger brother. Mujahiddin Muhammad. Yes. To establish Turk rule in India. Who sent? Ghiyazuddin sent. Who was sent? Mujahiddin Muhammad sent. But he is called, he means Mujahiddin Muhammad was called as Muhammad Ghori by the historians. He started his first invasion by besieging Multan, but now it is in Pakistan. He started his first invasion at Multan in Pakistan. Then he wanted to recapture the places of Sindh that were under the rule of Muhammad Ghazni. See, while conquering India and to conquer Rajput regions, he made several attacks in Lahore, Multan and some other Sindh regions. Here also he conquered the regions which were conquered by Muhammad Ghazni. He invaded Anilwada of Gujarat and got defeated there. There he was defeated. He was defeated. This defeat made to change his plan and attacked Peshawar and conquered it. See, now Peshawar or Purshapur located in Pakistan. See, he did not give up his decision. He did not lose his heart. Once again he changed the plan, war strategy, and conquered Peshawar in the very next battle of Anilwada battle. And then Khusro Malik of Lahore surrendered by keeping Lahore as his center. See, he was such a valor, but he was known for valor attack. So Khusro Malik of Lahore surrendered Lahore. Then Muhammad attacked his plans in India. That means he wanted to attack on Rajasthan, Gujarat, and where the Rajputs were ruling. See, these attacks where he conquered Multan, then Lahore, Peshawar. You know, initially Rajput resisted him. This attack was naturally resisted by the ruler of Delhi, Prithviraj Chauhan III. He defeated Muhammad at Tarain in 1191 CE. See, Prithviraj Chauhan was a famous ruler of Rajput dynasty, was ruling from Ajmer. When Muhammad Ghori made an attack over Ajmer, that means Prithviraj Chauhan's dynasty rule, Prithviraj Chauhan was successful in beating Muhammad Ghori in the battle of Tarain. That means the first battle of Tarain. But Muhammad did not lose his desires and ambition to conquer Delhi. So he returned to Ghor and again faced Prithviraj Chauhan III at Tarain in very next year, 1192. In 1192. In 1192, he conquered. This time he had made a lot of preparations in this battle, and he was successful in defeating Prithviraj Chauhan. The quicker cavalry of Turks dispersed the Rajput army with slow moving elephants. This is one of the reasons. Then Govind Rao and Bola, who were the instrumental in the Rajput victory during the first Tarain battle, were killed. See, this is also, sometimes some noble people are important to lead the war, but here Govind Rao and Bola, both were defeated, both were killed. This was major setback for Prithviraj's army. Prithviraj Chauhan was imprisoned. Prithviraj continued to rule for a while after his surrenderance. Muhammad appointed his slaves to take care of his areas owned by him in India. Later, his followers, that means slaves, continued their administration. He got murdered on his way back to Ghori. This is the administration of Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori. Now let us see the political implications of the Muhammad Ghori and Muhammad Ghazni. The victory of Ghoris had many major political implications. The political system of consisting small kingdoms vanished. That is one of the reasons here we have discussed it, where in the political transition. And the centralized rule of Sultan, who had immense power at Delhi, came into existence. And here the king-centric administration came into power. As a result, the entire northern India came under the control of Harsha. See here, as a result, the entire northern India came under the rule after Harsha. That means after Harsha, during the period of Harsha, the entire northern India came under the control of Harsha. But it split. After the fall of Vardhanas, it split. Then the system of administration was different from Rajputs. The Turks' administration was different. The Sultan had the absolute power and no one is ready to question him. He was the final authority and first authority for each and everything. His word is final, his word is verdict. And the Sultan had the absolute power, either appointing and dismissing. In that way, they had the political implications over India, and the military administration was clearly unlike the previous one. We came to know that The military system and the army system the Rajputs had was something different. But Turks had quick moving cavalry, and soldiers were appointed directly by the sultans, and soldiers remained loyal, nambikastaragiದ್ರು, loyal to the king. With the establishment of the rule of sultans, India got reconnected with the other world. These are all the political implications of Muhammad Ghori and Muhammad Ghazni. That means Turks. Dear children, today we have seen Muhammad Ghori and Ghazni and their political implication. Just go through the textbook as well as video. Very soon, once again, we will conduct a test, and if you watch this video, just type your name in the comment section. Sairam. Soon after watching this video, just type your name where? In the comment section. Sairam.